Kal Kadosh Boker Or. Bekiim Bahalacha 4, day 82, page 204, Siman Kafchet, Siman 28. We are on Halacha Kaf Aleph. כשמקפל התפילין לא יכרוך הרצועות על הבתים, אלא בצדדי הבתים על הטיטורה. יש שכתבו שלדעת האריזה לקדוש אין לכרוך הרצועה למעברתא, מפני שכל אחד יש לו בחינת קדושה בפני עצמו. So when you're going to wind the tefillin straps, you shouldn't strap it on top of the bite, not on top of the bite. The bite is the box on the top, but rather on the right and left sides of the titura. So you have the right side and the left side. Okay, some poskim claim that according to the Rizal Kadosh, it's forbidden to wind the strap on the titura or the mabarta either, since each part of the tefillin has its own measure of sanctity, meaning that since each part has its own kedusha, so don't even do that as well. Right? Nevertheless, nowadays, the first thing that you do is you put the tefillin inside the box, and then you wrap around. So according to everybody, you could do it on the sides of the kufsa, according to everybody. Okay? Even though underneath it is a titura. So one more time. The tefillin has the box, which is on the top. And then you have the sides. You're going to have the mabarta, the tituras on the sides. Okay, you have the mabarta, titura. Now what happens is like this. Technically speaking, you're not allowed to do it on top of the house. So you're not allowed to come and wrap the tefillin on top of the house. On the sides, you're allowed to. According to the Arizal HaKadosh, you're not even allowed to on the sides. Why? Because each one has a kedusha. But he says nowadays, you never do it on the sides. What you do is you put it in a box. You close the box. And now you do it on the box. Now that you're doing it on the box, again, you're not also doing it on the bite of the box, but you're doing it on the sides of the box, right? Whether it's a tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel rosh, doesn't matter which one. So since you're doing it on the box, according to everybody, there's no problem of wrapping around on that area whatsoever. So if you look at the Magen Avraham 223 in the footnote, Magen Avraham quotes the Galei Razia that he forbids us to wind the straps on the batim, since the straps are less holy than the bite. Magen Avraham countered that this should be permissible since one uses the straps to protect the batim from damage. Yeah? So he says, just like it's permissible to cover a Torah scroll with a cloth to cover to protect it, so do the same thing here. Nevertheless, since one, right, he has a choice of winding the strap around the titura, it's forbidden to wind it directly around the batim. And the Pri Megadim explained that Magen Avraham equated the sanctity of the titura to the batim. Basically this, he's saying that the bite always has a bigger kedusha than anything else. So therefore the titura, which is going to be on the sides, right, and the front and the back, that is the same kedusha as the straps. The Kaf HaChaim brings down the Rizal HaKadosh. He says, no, that the straps have one level of kedusha, and the mabarta has another level of kedusha, and therefore he concluded that one must not wind the straps over the mabarta either. Instead, one should wind it around itself, next to the mabarta. Okay, so he says Aruch HaShulchan wrote that some authorities do not permit winding the straps on the batim, since the batim of a higher degree. Instead, they winded it around the strap on it to itself in the form of dove's wings. So he says the author rejected the stringency. He says there's no problem nowadays. Anyway, we put it in a box. And therefore, the Halacha Brura brings down that nowadays it's permissible to do it even over the bite, since it's enclosed in a plastic box. Yeah? Fine. Doesn't matter. Kavbet. Halacha Kavbet. Halacha Kavbet says, יש נוהגים לכרוך התפילין ככנפיים, על שם כנפי יונה, כפי שנזכר במעשה של אלישע בכנפיים. So some people, they actually do it like knafayim, that it looks like wings. Okay, so he comes and he says, and that's actually based upon the Gemara. If you remember the Gemara, that the person was saved because he had, which one? Yes, with he opened up his hands and it was like a Yonah. So therefore, that's why he says Al Shem the Kanfei Yonah. Yeah, Kesher, there's a picture in the book, but we have to find the book. The book went missing, right? In action, you have to check the. Yeah, which one? So he comes and he says, huh? ילקוט יוסף של תפילין. הקשר, right? של התפילין. So he says, של ראש, right? נכון שלא יניחנו תחת הקופסה, אלא מעל המברטה. So he says, right, like this. He says, it's highly recommended to position the knot of the strap, right, over the mabarta, right, when winding up the strap, right? זאת אומרת, don't put it underneath. A lot of people, right? That's what we're talking about. The one of the head on top. So that's what we just mentioned. So we just mentioned it. He says it's highly recommendable to position the knot of the strap of the tefillin over, right, the mabarta. Meaning, a lot of people, they come and they'll do it on the bottom, right? They'll put the knot on the bottom. And Zelo Yod, Zedalit. They put it on the bottom and then they fold upwards. Yes. No, put it on the top and fold downwards. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. No, 1 second. So he says this is actually the Aruch HaShulchan, Piskei Teshuvot, and others. He says, right, this is even more important nowadays when the batim are first encased in plastic covers. He says this. The Aruch HaShulchan. The Aruch HaShulchan praised the practice of placing the knot of the strap of the tefillin shalosh on top of the mabarta. Yeah, זה למעלה, זה בסדר גמור. זה בסדר גמור. יוהן, אני ראיתי את זה, זה בסדר. Yeah, I said, right, he says like this. So go. So he says like this. He says, placing the knot of the strap of the shalosh on top of the mabarta and not underneath it when winding the strap of the tefillin away. Since the knot represents, are you listening? You want to know the reasons and then you're not paying attention. The knot represents the letter Dalit. We already just said the letter Dalit of Hashem's name of Shakai. And therefore, because of that, you always want to have it on the top. You don't want to have something underneath. Okay? Because again, remember, you've got the Shin, Dalit, and then the Yod, correct? So therefore, because you have the Shin, the Dalit, and the Yod, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have, right? Remember, the Shin is on the Tefillin Shalosh, right? The Dalit is going to be the Tefillin Shalosh on the back, and the Yod is on the Tefillin Shel Yad on the side. Right? So therefore, because of that, you always want that they should have a lot of Kiddusha. You don't want to put the name of Hashem on the bottom. So if the name of Hashem is going to be on the top, which that's the Dalit, and then you're going to fold underneath. After positioning the knot, there's a Yalkut Me'am Loez. Listen to this Yalkut Me'am Loez. He said, instructed us to position the knot underneath the bite. Now he says, of course, in their times, people did not encase the tefillin in the boxes. Since the Mabarta was left bare, it was improper to place the strap directly on top of it, and therefore the instructions were to do it underneath it. But nowadays, you use a box. For sure, you should do it on the top. The box is the status of Tashmishei Kedusha. Well, according to many poskim, the knot in the strap has a higher level of Dvar Kedusha, and therefore, right, the Tfilah Moshe remarked that nowadays it is improper to place the knot underneath the plastic box. Apparently, the Aruch HaShulchan ruled that it is improper to position the knot underneath the bite, even if it was in the olden days as well, and therefore it would be the same thing. After positioning the knot, in its place on the plastic case, one winds the right end of the straps on the right side and the left, right, on the left side. That's forming the image of dove's wings. So that's what we just said right now. So you do it on the right and then the left. You know why? Because some people, they do everything in one. Meaning they'll do everything on the right side or everything on the left side. No, זה יד. זה בסדר. Yeah, right? So he says, yeah, I've seen that also. Not everyone. Yeah? Okay. The strap of the tefillin shel yad should be wound all in one coil around the side of the titura. So the tefillin shel yad is on one side. So that's what you showed over there, Mordechai. Right? It is improper to wrap the strap on top of the knot, since the knot represents the letter Yod. So again, don't do it on top of the Yod. So you have to do it on the other side, right, of the name of the Shekai. Fine. Another advantage of this practice of winding the strap entirely one side is that whenever opens a zipper of the kuracha, you could immediately tell the tefillin shel yad and tefillin shalosh. Because immediately you see everything on one side, you know that's tefillin shel yad. Meaning, if I come in and show you, immediately you see this tefillin shel yad and tefillin shalosh. How? The way that it's wrapped. In 2 seconds you see it, right? Fine, okay. But I'm saying without touching, yeah? We use our eyes, right? It's not only just touch. Fine, so he comes and he says this. Another advantage of this practice, you know who says that? It's a Rambam. And the Ramban argues on that. Yeah, so fine. So he says, you're able to tell each one separately. Tav Gimel. Yeah, he comes and he says this. כשקורח הרצועות על צדדי התפילין, לא יאחז הרצועה בידו ויסובב התפילין סביב הרצועה, אלא אוחז התפילין בידו וגולל הרצועה בידו. Meaning like this. Do you take the retzuot and you're going around the tefillin? Are you holding the tefillin in place and going around? Or is it that you're going around the tefillin, meaning that you're going around, but you're going around the bite, meaning that you hold the tefillin in place, and you're moving the bite, right? So therefore, he comes and he says you're supposed to obviously hold the bite and take the tefillin around the bite. That's obviously what you're supposed to do. The last halakha of Dalet, right? He comes and he says, okay, he just brings down in the footnote 228 that it's basically it's a Ben Ish Chai in the Kavachaim that the added of the kuracha is equipped with a drawstring. One must twist the string around the kuracha's mouth and not twist the kuracha around the coil. Okay, the same thing, just with a kuracha. Kav Dalet, yeah, the last halakha, yeah. When you're going to take them out, don't you take them with your hand. Right? The batim will actually turn upside down. So because of that, you always have to have a kedusha with the tefillin.